Well, on the eve of John Farnham releasing his new memoir, explosive revelations about the star's past have been revealed. For decades, the Aussie icon has refused to sit down and write an autobiography.
I don't enjoy talking about myself. I really don't. Don't get me wrong, I'm an egomaniac, but dredging up the past and picking through what has and hasn't been is just not something I've ever really enjoyed. I'll try to share as much as I can, but that's not easy because I've never really been that open. I guess there are reasons for that, reasons for my reluctance.
Now fans know the reason for his reluctance, with John for the first time disclosing his former manager abused and secretly drugged him for years in the early stages of his career. But there's one music journalist that's not shocked about these new details. That journalist is Jane Gazzo, and she joins us now. Good morning to you. So back in 2015, you wrote a biography about John Farnham and spoke to key figures, including people who worked with John's former manager. What do you know about their relationship?
I certainly know that these revelations come as no surprise. I was privy to some information. Certainly what John has revealed about being drugged, that was quite a surprise to me. However, it was indicated to me that Daryl Samble, his former manager, was absolutely in love with John, almost to an obsession. And so I really take my hat off to John due to the fact that he's been able to, he feels now that he's been able to tell the world what happened to him. I always wondered why he was reluctant to talk about his past, and this makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, you say a lot of child stars from the 70s you think were drugged by their managers. That is shocking.
Unfortunately, that was what happened in the day, and I certainly don't condone that, but that was how they got kids out on stage. They gave them uppers to perform and then they gave them downers to sleep. And unfortunately, John came through in an era when that was ordinary behaviour, you know, certainly despicable behaviour, but that's how they kept them working. And I know for a fact John was working sometimes 3-4 shows a night every week, and they were jetting off to various places around Australia. So it doesn't surprise me at all that this was happening.
In the book, John says that he had been asked to sit down numerous times to tell his story over the years, didn't want to do it, was reluctant to do it. Why do you think now?
I think basically, I mean, I'm sure my book certainly shone a light or made him think about some of the stuff that happened, because I certainly talk in detail about Daryl Samble's love for John. He was in love with John, absolutely, and so many people told me that. But certainly, you know, the success of his documentary recently, and I guess now he is the elder statesman and he's rock royalty in Australia, and he's so loved. Perhaps it was time for him to tell his story and set the record straight. You know, it was indicated in the doco how abusive Samble was, but certainly not to this point. So again, I really just take my hat off to John, because there were certain things I couldn't publish in the book because that wasn't my story to tell, if that makes sense. So I was certainly privy to some quite classified information, but I couldn't get it proven by John at the time, and it certainly what was too salacious to print. So I'm kind of glad, in a sense, that John has felt that it's now time to reveal all. And yeah, I'm glad. It must have been quite a cathartic experience for him to reveal all that information after so long.
Yeah, he ends the book by revealing he's not sure he'll ever sing again. Do you think he's foreshadowing the end of his career?
Only John can answer that question, really. I hope not. You know, yeah. I discovered that John had a terrible sense of direction when he was a young child. And, you know, we saw in the late 70s he was in the wilderness, you know, the wilderness musically and professionally speaking. Perhaps John just has to find his way. Perhaps John's a bit lost now and has to find his way back to another stage. But I love the fact that he's narrated this particular biography. We can hear his voice and hear what's happening to him. And look, I really hope he gets back on stage again, but only time will tell.
Yeah, the whole of Australia, the whole of the world hopes that John can sing again in some capacity. Jane, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Nat and Sherbo.